For the first time since Patrick Peterson, the Arizona Cardinals have a legit cornerback in their defensive secondary. It's Bo Brock here with PHNX Cardinals. Make sure you're subscribed here to PHNX Sports. Of course, like this video. We are pleased to be joined with our guy, John Kosko from Pro Football Focus, breaking it down. Really an emphasis on the defensive lines, the cornerbacks out there. John, looking at Garrett Williams, a guy in his second season, has really emerged for the Cardinals. What have you seen?
Yeah, one of the things that we're introducing this year at PFF is our advanced coverage rankings, and what we're doing with the advanced rankings is beyond. If anybody that's followed PFF, in the past has known, hey, we have our coverage grades, and basically mostly that is based on target plays. So it hadn't covered like if you're getting roasted by the wide receiver on the other side of the field, but the quarterback didn't see you and threw it somewhere else, it was kind of like missed on our system. Mm-hmm. Now we've been, over the past like 5 years, we've been grading every single one of those coverage players and how well they're covering. And, Garrett Williams, his coverage grade this year is a 73.3. That's nothing great to write home about, but what he's been doing outside of the on-target plays is he's been locking it down. He's making life difficult for opposing receivers to get open, and so therefore the ball isn't coming his way often because he's doing a good job of preventing separation. So right now in my advanced coverage rankings, he's number 6 in the NFL, and his separation that he's allowing, he's 12th best in the NFL in preventing separation, and he's just grading out extremely well when it comes to all routes run against him, not just targeted routes. So he's been really coming on strong. He's been climbing these rankings every single week. And he's almost there in the top 5. He's just been playing really good football all year long.
Yeah, it is interesting. He goes from a guy that I think the Cardinals benefited from an injury he sustained at Syracuse in his final collegiate season. He falls in the draft rankings, and they get him as a top, just inside the top 100 in the 90s there from the Orange. And he gets healthy. He comes back last year, plays well in his rookie season. And when did he kind of first hit your radar this season as somebody that needs to be paid attention to?
I mean, I think it was a gradual thing. I think the first game that kind of maybe stood out was the Washington game, week 4. His coverage grade in that one was an 82.8. So then you kind of notice more maybe when you say, hey, this guy made some plays in coverage that game, had a couple of pass stops. And when he was targeted in that game, he had a passer rating allowed of 36.7. And so then when you have those types of numbers, you look at that and go, oh, okay, he pops up and he kind of makes me notice him. And then he's just consistently been there in the top 15, climbed into the top 10 now. And so that's kind of maybe the first time I kind of really noticed that he was, really playing really well. And you think, there's always guys that you in the NFL where these guys, right? Obviously, a Sauce Gardner, you've got a Patrick Surtain. Those guys you always know, and you kind of pay attention to where they are at. And then whoever's at number 1, you're kind of like, oh, that's an interesting name to be there. This year it's been like Christian Benford is, I think, kind of the surprise player of the year. But then you get these guys that maybe never get that never top spot, but they're lurking, and Garrett Williams is one of them.
I think we finally did it. We finally found a positive out of that ass kicking that the Arizona Cardinals took against Washington. Garrett Williams emerged. But, yeah, I mean, he had a key turnover that at the time was big for Jaden Daniels and, the Commanders, that I think it scored like 16 straight drives up to that moment. So to get off the field and get the ball into the offense's hands at the time, there was opportunity. Offense didn't figure it out. But let's kind of switch over to the Cardinals on offense. They've emerged recently, John. Like they've something clicked, I think, in Miami against a pretty good defensive secondary, led by Jalen Ramsey. And, Kyler Murray's had some success along with Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, picking apart at times, statistically, one of the better defenses. That Miami game, they were, I think, at the top of the league leaders as far as passing yards surrendered. And in this past week, Kyler's picking apart Sauce and DJ Reader. What do you make of, this Cardinals passing attack and its ability to kind of find success no matter who they go up against.
Yeah, they make life difficult. They keep, Petzing comes from the Kubiak system, right? The Kubiak system is all about marrying the run and the pass game, and you never know if it's going to be a run or a pass when he's going back there and looking like he's going to hand off the ball. And Kyler Murray is doing a really good job of, from under center, executing those play fakes and getting outside the pocket. And even when he's in the pocket, he's doing a really good job too. But it stresses the defense when you don't know when the snap happens, if they're running it or passing it, because everybody on that offense is executing at a high level. And, you look at what I think the Cardinals have been doing this year. They're grading from a grade perspective, offensively as a whole unit. They're the 5th highest graded offense in the NFL this year at PFF. They're executing extremely well. They're playing really well. And then also marrying it with high efficiency. They're 7th in expected points added per play. They're number 2 in the NFL in success rate per play. And I think that's a huge part of it is Kyler Murray's playing really good football this year, and the entire unit is they're feeding off of that. He's leading this team. Coming into the season, you didn't expect this team to be this well oiled and put together and together. And they are. And a big part of it is that coaching is doing a really good job. And then Kyler Murray has stepped up to the plate and playing really strong football this year.
Yeah, let's examine that a little bit more. Kyler Murray, offensive rookie of the year way back when, coming out as a Heisman Trophy winner out of Oklahoma, 2-sport star. And then, 2020, 2021 has some really good seasons, starts 2021 out on fire. And then kind of the wheels start to fall off organizationally. Cliff Kingsbury's run out of town after 2022. And Gannon comes in. He hires Drew Petzing away from Stefanski over there in Cleveland, as he said, kind of a disciple of the Kubiak scheme. How does that kind of just pair well with the skill set for Kyler Murray, who, ever since he was in Pee Wee football, it felt like they were putting him in the shotgun and kind of making him just kind of go out there and make a play? Why does playing within this system fit Kyler Murray so well?
I think this system generally works well for a lot of quarterbacks. And when you have a talent that Kyler Murray is, he just elevates it that much more. So, under Cliff Kingsbury, the Cardinals were the highest shotgun percentage team in the NFL. They run a ton of spread. They're the highest in the NFL in spread. And this year they're 20th in shotgun percentage. They're not running this every single play out of shotgun, because really you got to be able to utilize both the run and the pass in the NFL. And I know that the analytics push big time towards, hey, you've got to be able to pass the ball. And it's true. You absolutely have to be able to pass the ball. But if you can't run it and you can't keep the defense always moving forward because they don't know if it's going to be a run or a pass, you're going to eventually fail unless your name is like Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes that can just beat you regardless because they're just that good. And quarterbacks are generally just not good enough to say, hey, just drop back the pass and we don't have to do anything fancy to help you out. No, a lot of quarterbacks need that. And so Murray is no exception to that, but he has the talent. He has the athleticism. He's able, for one, he's healthy this year, right? Like last year he's coming off of that injury. He started actually looking good at the end, after he kind of got his feet under him. But, the year before when, the last year with Cliff, he was hurt and it really did show. And for a guy that is shorter and utilizes his athleticism, you've got to be able to be healthy. So part of it is him being healthy, but you put this guy under center and you have a strong running game. It makes it really difficult for defenses, and he's just executing off of that. And it really just helps the whole unit because you don't know if it's a run or a pass. And then when it is a pass, if you put him outside the pocket, he's making plays. He's actually playing this. I think I was looking at it. He's second best in the NFL in terms of under pressure grading this year, which is huge. Like if you can handle the pressure, you're playing with high level of confidence. You're going to be able to move the ball.
One more question here with our guest, John Kosko, who also deep dives defensive line groups. And, we all know the Cardinals, they just don't have the personnel, right? We're still waiting to see Darius Robinson, 27th overall pick, make his debut, come off a calf injury. But your most recent defensive line rankings, Cardinals 25th. And John, I think that's actually pretty encouraging considering, who they were deploying and who they've had to deploy over the last 2 seasons, that they're actually able to get that high. But with all that being said, bigger picture outlook, Cardinals 6-4 atop the NFC West standings, on a bye week. They'll come out of the bye and face the Seahawks, who will probably lose to the Niners this weekend to drop to 4-6. Is it possible for the Cardinals to sustain this success with how kind of down they are personnel-wise on their defensive front seven?
I mean, as long as the offense is clicking, yes, I would say so. And as long as also they're playing well in coverage, if Garrett Williams can continue to play the way he is in coverage, it helps to alleviate that. You look at their best player on the defensive line has been Zaven Collins, and he's been really good in coverage and in run defense. They're not doing a great job of getting pressure after the quarterback from a defensive line standpoint. So I think for this unit, it's holding together just enough, but it would be the Achilles heel for this team when it comes playoff time, right? Like when it comes down to it, it's not a strong enough defense really across the board to be able to have a sustained playoff run. Their offense is definitely clicking, and it's moving the ball on a consistent basis. Kyler Murray's protecting the ball. They're not turning it over very often. So as long as the offense is still doing what it's been doing, it will have success. But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done on that defense, and especially the defensive line.
No doubt about it. But regardless, still exciting. A team ahead of schedule, I think, in this rebuild. Taking advantage of some down teams in recent weeks, but you won't turn your nose up on any wins here in the desert for the Cardinals.
A win is a win.
Exactly. It's always a win when we talk to our guy, John Kosko. Check out his work, pff.com. Follow him on Twitter at JohnKosko3. Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate your insight.
Absolutely, Bo. You have a great rest of your day.
And all you guys, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube and drop a like on this video.
We all silly like the mayor.